Ladies and gentlemen, Software Inc. with a cool screensaver thing. Whoa! I don't know when I last played this. I think I did a sort of a quick look type thing back when the distribution and all that was first a thing. When you could do like hardware printing and you actually had to make like floppies of your game and distribute it that way and all that. I don't know if the whole like lead developer thing was really functional and in when I last played. I'm not 100% sure, but it's been a little while and I'm ready to take another look at it to see how it's been going. Man, that screensaver really goes nuts, don't it? Jeez. Presenting the dramatic flirt, Krug. I love it. He's like got a little bit of smugness to him. Just a little bit though. It's Krug. Creativity, we're going for inspiring, which typically would be... I think normally when you start, you probably don't want to go with any creativity at all and just get the ball rolling and pick up a lead designer at some point down the road anyway, but I'm going to try starting with somebody who's got creativity. Not a ton, just a little bit. I could bump up the creativity one more notch, but then anything that we make that Krug's a part of, Krug himself owns rather than the company. So even if I want to trade the IP and sell something because I'm done with it and want to move on, I wouldn't be getting anything from it because it goes straight to Krug, which does nothing for me. So that's not great, but he will still be needing his own private office and is still getting 5% off the top for anything that they've designed. But the higher creativity means that it's a lot easier to get something that's actually a bit breakthrough, which early on is kind of what you need to do to actually start the game, kinda. So I don't really mind having a bit of an easier start with somebody creative. Otherwise, he is just the developer man's focusing in games, because we're going to try game development. I don't recall if I ever did much with games before. Because Krug is inspiring, his skill caps are a little bit not so great. His skill will never be higher than that. So a bit of a savant syndrome type thing going on with that. So we do need other employees, of which we've got Stack, the designer slash artist. Since artists can't really do much during a lot, when their work is done, they just kind of sit there, twiddle their thumbs. At least you can help design then, so you're a little bit more busy. One of like the worst combinations is just pure artist or artist programmer, because you either have nothing to do or all of the stuff to do. Next up, we got Neophyte, the service, generally for marketing, I believe. Yeah, a little bit support and marketing, generally. Also some design skill to help out with the design. Fantastic. And Mr. Tarvin, the programmer, also doing a little bit with service. Nothing too much though. It's a little bit all over the place with some of the starting folks. Unfortunately, specialization-wise, you like have to spend their points, which a lot of the time I don't really want to be spending their points, but yeah, we got their points anyway. It is what it is, you know. Yeah, man. What a band of misfits this is. And just to clarify, some of them with the wacky faces, that's because the sliders are unlocked, allowing them to have a significantly higher or lower values than ordinarily available. You can get folks looking actually quite normal in this game nowadays. Which is a far cry from how the game used to be once upon a time. Man, it's exciting to see that there's like actually some face and personality to folks. I'm just not sure if I can get also unlocked sliders for people just coming in off the street. I feel like probably not. But anyway, we'll get a move on with this. We're going for 2-day months. I think that's probably like the best compromise. 1-day month things tend to go a little bit too quickly. 3-day months are sometimes a little bit slow depending on what's going on. 2 days seems to be the sweet spot. Starting in 1980, just medium difficulty, nothing wild, not starting with alone. We are going to try, I'm not sure if building 1 is like with the game or if that's something that I had made at some point. It doesn't look like anything that I made, but maybe? I'm not sure. It's deletable, so I'm not positive. But like nothing of it is, it's a big building, but none of it is leased yet, so we could just like slowly work our way through the building, I suppose. I don't know what it is. I might have to check it out later on and see. But for now, we're gonna try Garage Inc. We're gonna try. I'm tempted to go for empty plot, but I think we need to get a little bit more money under our belt for that. Otherwise, we could start with a loan and go for empty plot, I suppose. I guess that's a reason to start with a loan. Nah, we're just gonna go for the garage and see how that goes. Now, the only downside of doing garage is obviously it's very small. There's not a lot we can do with it. This is it. I can get this room as well, which I'm gonna have to do. But that's all that we can do. This whole space isn't usable for our office. We can't build stairs. We can't build off of this and get more building materials. We can't go to adjacent plots and buy out their properties. This is it. However, on the plus side, heating and cooling, taken care of. Security, I don't think we ever have to worry about that in this stage of the game. Certainly, I don't know if you like. I think robberies are like unlocked once you have X amount of capital under your belt. I've never been robbed from the house though, ever. So if I do, I'm gonna be surprised. But since Krug needs his own office, we have to lease this additional thing. And it leaves us with 24,000 bucks, and I think it's like 900. No, okay, like almost 3,000 bucks monthly is our rent. Let's get this outfitted, though. It's a decent enough starting spot for early beginnings. We don't really have the best lighting here, but it'll have to do for now. The general main office gives me kind of like kindergarten vibes a little bit, but hey, that ain't too bad. Forgot the color. Oops. There we are. It gives kindergarten vibes, but, you know, it works. 3 computers, drawing tablet for the artist, a calculator for the programmer, and the phone, which turns into a mysterious box when you zoom too far out. I assume it's because the phone generally has, like, just all of the polygons to it, having to generate, like, I don't know, 50 plus of these things all the time. Probably saved a lot of the polygon draws with the, boxifying. Interestingly, nothing else really does that, though. Yeah. In any case. And then Krug's office here. It's an office. It is an office. I got to assign the computer still, but we can do that. Which also reminds me, everybody is set currently by default to just all the things. We're going to change roles and auto roll and see what happens. Because these are our starting people, a lot of them are technically good at all things, but I had certain things in mind. So like Stack, you were primarily the artist. Secondary design. If there's no art to be done, head over into design work, and the magnifying glass kind of grays out to signify that. Krug is generally, yeah, it's a bit of anything, really, I suppose. Because your skills are for your stars for specialties aren't super great, but for just general working, it's all right. It's okay. I think I would have you generally do design or art, otherwise programming. I didn't grab any of the traits where, like, you can get a trait where you're really, really, really good at doing just, like, one thing at a time, but if you have to multitask across different projects, then your effectiveness suffers. I think for one task, you're, like, 160%, but if you have anything else to do in parallel, you drop down to just 60%. It's a huge swing of 100%. So for that, you would want to keep in mind, like, you know, definitely secondary, another role, but Krug doesn't have that, so it doesn't really matter too much. Neophyte is the designer, but there was a little bit of support that you can do, because I did give you a bit of that. So we will say... I think service secondary design, though. So currently Krug is the only designer. Other people can help out. And then your programming, we're gonna secondary service. So now we've got somebody for everything, at least. Which is good, with some help thrown around periodically. Our team compatibility, though, because of the traits and all that, the personalities, I'm not sure how that's really gonna work out. We'll see. Typically when I play this, I just all the starting people, I usually just have like one though, just for simplicity's sake. I'm trying something a bit different this time around. Typically they all just have the same traits because they all have the same personality, but this time I gave them different personalities, and yeah, I don't know. We'll see how that goes in the end. Oh, here he comes. Oh, it's Krug. Oh, he's going in. Oh yeah. We should also assign people to, like, specifically the furniture. Neophyte being service. And then the artist for the tablet. And then the programmer for Tarvin. That's why I like to do the roles, because then in that menu it tells you what that is. I also like to color coordinate the chairs with the computer, depending on what they're doing. Yellow being... if I go all... Yellow being the service stuff, green being programming, blue being design, and red being art. Sometimes I forget which is which, but that's what I like to do. Helps a lot for the bigger offices and all that, when you can just kind of at a glance see what's what. Everybody doing a bit of a shuffle to sort them. So what is that? Dude, some bird exploded out there. You're just having a meeting or something? What is this? Okay, you're just idling out there. Excuse me? Can you not? I guess I should give them their own coffee machine, huh? Jeez. Just gonna walk in there and grab coffee all the time. Ooh, put it next to the vending machine. There. And scoot that a little bit so it can still be serviced. There. And Krug, you've got your own. You get. What are you doing? No, stop. Everybody stop this. This is nonsense. Limit room usage. Well, to just Krug, really. Oh, jeez. Oh, jeez. Maybe it'll sort itself in a bit. Let's do some contract work to make a bit of money. It shouldn't be too bad to do. I don't have a server yet. If I had a server, I could do, source control management to reduce bugs and generally improve progress. Maybe after the first contract we can put a server in there. I think the base servers are like really wicked small. It's gonna get so dirty in here so fast. Oh my god. All you people do is drink coffee. Ugh. Great. Move that up to development. It's like way overdone, man. Again, I'm used to playing with like kind of sort of 3 days usually, so this is all going a lot quicker than I'm used to. Like we could probably honestly just like all of them go and it'll be fine. Just let them go through a couple iterations just to ensure quality. You're being a bit ineffective because why? Oh, okay, so you've got the super focus. You're great at one single task, but with multiple things going in parallel, it's really rough for you. But you're the service/designer, so with only the one design project for you to work on, now your effectiveness is up to 160%, which is excellent. Are you also single focus? Yeah, okay. Alright, well then, we will pause one of these, finish that thing since it's only got a couple bugs, it's fine. Move that to development, but pause it to keep you happy. Our artist has nothing to do right now. Enable the game assets? Apparently that works out. Okay, because there's only art to do for that. That makes sense. If you're new to this game, this is all going to be very confusing for you. I know. I know the feeling. I'll do my best to like kind of explain things as we go, but a lot of it is just managing. What is all the white spots? Is that supposed to be snow or bird? What? I mean, it's January and it's 3 degrees out. I think that's like snow that's just slowly melting. It just looks like a bird exploded a little bit, though. Alright, we're going home for the day. Skip over the time where there's nothing going on. And keep at it. No bugs to fix because it's an art thing. Well, that. Do a bit of bug fixing. Your effectiveness is terrible. That's okay, though. We'll have to keep that in mind. Alright. Well, that's a decent amount of money for doing those contracts, all with outstanding quality. We've got quite a bit of reputation from the contracts, almost 2 stars. Which, generally, means that we can get better employees, more employees. Well, more employees is a bit misleading. Generally better employees. There's going to be more people in the employee pool. There's not like a cap to how many employees you can have or anything like that. But if I were to hire employees, you know, there's only so many out there to hire from, and the higher reputation, the better quality they're going to be, and the more that are generally available to hire. We also get access to better contracts, which currently there are none because it's still the same month. But eventually some of the contracts will be like, you've got half a year to do this thing, it's for like $100,000. It's a big deal. And down the road even, there are also deals we can do. And that is for other companies that are around out and about, for there are many companies in this game. Randomly generated, of course. Now with our own little logos and stuff. I just randomly generated mine. I tried to make one myself, but man, it's a bit complicated. I think that's a very new thing though. So I randomized this one. It looks a little bit like a massive meteor crashing into a solar system. That's us. That's us smashing our face into the solar system of progress. Or anything, I guess. I don't know, man. That's the companies though that are around. There will be more eventually one day, possibly. Some of the oldest ones likely have been doing operating system things. What are your products? Yeah, Lion. Yeah, what are like the first thing that the companies that generate do is operating systems. To get their foothold into it. Lionview 3 is the most recent one they've done, released in '77. It's great quality. Creativity inspiring because of their leader guy. We could technically poach, but I think that ruins our reputation doing that. But if you really need a designer, and you also want to screw over a different company, and there you go. What do we actually have for software-wise? Like, what is actually out there for operating systems? Int, Slim, X, and Lionview are the two. Right, with Int, Slim, X3 being the top with 1.5 million, almost 1.6 million active users. Unavoidable marketing. You can't step outside without hearing about this thing. It's from Weed Shop Studios. Would you like an operating system that Weed Shop Studios made? Gosh, there's also consoles out there too. The console operating system is really just more like your standard gaming console type thing, like your Xbox and PlayStation and such. Or Gamebox, GoBase, and Saturn Station, apparently. Console operating systems typically are typically don't have as many active users and are also kind of a pain to make. For if we were to go in to develop our own software, which I'd like to be doing in a minute anyway, if I were to generate a console operating system, this comes with the design of said operating system, which you can see this fax machine of a console here with apparently 2 big power plugs in the front. The controllers go in the back or something. It's really just look like a fax machine. Sorry, you can just kind of like adjust it and stuff, and you can randomize it and such as well. There's quite a bit you can do with it. I quite like it. But when you make something, you also have to actually make it, which gets expensive. Quite expensive. If we were to assemble all this stuff ourselves, it'll cost about $50 per copy, not counting what the actual machinery costs and also electricity costs and everything to run that, and the space it takes to put it all up. $50 per copy at the absolute cheapest. We can also order copies of stuff. If we don't want to make it ourselves, we just order them. Same thing with software as well. It's like $2 per copy of software, but for the consoles, it's $100 per. Which, if you're looking to get in for just a really cheap console, recommended price $40. You're gonna, even if we were manufacturing it ourselves, we're losing $10 per console. And that's not even counting the controller that we also need to make. It's console operating systems are tough. They're real tough. Operating systems in general are tough. Even with no features or anything at all whatsoever, it still has a bit of a hefty requirement, mostly programmer-wise. It's rough. It's not easy to get into operating systems, but operating systems are sort of like the root of all things, you know. There's not a whole lot. Everything is built off of the operating system. We're going for games though. Something a bit simple, a bit easy, maybe, possibly. I'm not sure. One day, eventually, 3D graphics and multiplayer will be available. Eventually. It'll take a bit of time for them to be even available to research, and then somebody's got to research it, and then somebody will have to make a 3D tool so we can enable 3D graphics and use that 3D tool for the graphics. But if that's not enough, we also need to have an operating system that can support said 3D tool. So, down the line, eventually, this game gets very complicated. Eventually, we're going to be making our own 2D tools and 3D tools, ideally researching them. Every year, there's like a new technology tier available for it. You can see here with the tech levels and all that. Apparently, there's no 1974 for system. Somebody skipped it, I guess. I don't know. Every year, you can research like the new tech level for it to stay ahead, but it takes a lot of designers and stuff, and you can also patent sometimes that stuff, and it's a whole thing. We'll get into that later on. For now, though, let's just make a game. What are we making? Simulation game? I would like me a simulation game. Train Gang Simulator, The Fish World Ultra, Coaster Manager, Foot Tycoon Lite, House Sim Lite, Toy World 2015. How about Gut That Sheep? Why not? Use your imagination. It will not be a subscription-based thing because monthly fee to use our software is going to require a bunch of server space and capacity and all that. Generally, it's a waste of time doing that unless you're already well-known. So we're just going to keep it very simple, very light. Now, I would like to go into the advanced version so we can really break this out into the juicy bits. Yes, source control management. Hold on. Let's do that real quick. I need to get our server up, which will be just a table with a box on it. And just in case it does make a lot of noise, I'm going to give it a cubicle too. I'm not really sure they're that noisy at this stage. Apparently, there's a lot of noise in there. Eesh. Well, get a second one? Maybe, yeah. Eesh. Okay. It's very loud just everywhere. Everywhere is loud. Okay. Let's try fixing this a bit, if I can. A lot of it's gonna be this vending machine. Our acoustics is 100%, so it's not just like reflections and all that. Because the marketer here, they've got the phone, which is going to be ringing all the time. I'm wondering if maybe... do we need acoustic panels, maybe? Foam panel? Yeah, that's the one. Acoustic foam. We'll get some of these up here on this wall. Because maybe some of the noise is coming in through. I don't know. Alright, that looking good. Actually, you know what? I can do you one better. Change these to a green. There we go. It's RGB. Do you get it? Do you get it? Do you get it? It's not that creative. Okay. Let's see what that does for us. Oh, that helped a ton. Maybe I needed to resume a little bit too, but that helped a bunch. It's still quite loud over here because of these two, but I'm not going to worry about it until they start complaining. So now, with our server, now we can use that. Game. Simulation. Got that sheep. Server 0. I just like the idea of, like, I assume it to be some sort of a butcher sim, but like in 1980. I don't... Just polygons, just kinda... It's like asteroids. When you break an asteroid and it just turns into like smaller polygons, that's the sheep, I guess. I don't know, but hey, we can have physics in it. Maybe not, I don't know. Server 0 is a yes CM, that'll just make everything a bit smoother for us. We can also set frameworks for stuff, which is basically just like, I guess like an engine for it. We can make our own, or we can use one that already exists out there for a bit of royalty, but we're also then limited to whatever it can handle. So if we wanted to go for like a 2D graphics that's better than 1975, we could technically do 1976. We wouldn't be able to. We'd have to go elsewhere for that. This engine also only supports these selections, which is kind of okay. I can still do something else, just the engine won't help us with it. If I do go for this, the framework's giving us a big boost for it. So, depending, we might go for that. I don't know. If you want to try to be cutting edge and neat and stuff, we can try to make our own framework, and then it takes a lot longer the first time around, but then we can use that framework in future projects. Very nice. For the moment, though, I think we probably go without framework. But maybe, I don't know, maybe the stars align and everything is cool. Skip ahead to market targeting, analyze the market and see what's out there. Currently just a bunch of crud for story. There is a very, 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 very huge need currently for gameplay and graphics, so let us find some gameplay and graphics stuff. I think I got... Do I have a 2-star? I got 2-star game design, don't I? I think like just hardware. Hardware I don't think I have a designer for. And also audio just 1-star. 2-star with Tarvin. But Tarvin's not designing. Just okay. So 2D 2-star we could do. Oh, that needs level 3. Alright, well, never mind then. Yeah, I see. Okay, I gotcha. Yeah, so I can't do these because I don't have anybody who is 2-star audio, which is fine. That's okay. Let's do post-processing for a bit of graphics. And then mod support for gameplay. And probably leave it at that because I don't have that many folks. That's already asking quite a bit. So currently 56% expected interest. None of it's wasted because none of these bars are over our current aimed thresholds, which is good and fine. Drag that up a little bit just to make expansion pack targeting a bit better. I think this is just like we're leaving things open enough that we could have really killer expansions if we so choose. May as well though. It's not affecting the affected interest or expected interest at all, so I may as well go for that. Oh boy, this is still probably very confusing for some folks. We will leave it at that, though. Next page. We need a 2D editor because we do have 2D graphics, so we will go with, honestly, just any of them, but ideally something that's actually supported and possibly decent. I don't know if that matters at all. I'm not sure. I was always under the impression that like the overall quality of the tools that you use affect how easy it is to develop it, but I don't know if that's true. We will go for this one. It's great and inspiring, and it's a little cheaper to license. Okay. The license cost, by the way, is per month. $2,000 per month that this thing is in development. And then audio tool-wise, because we have audio, obviously. I don't know, can you get rid of audio? No, okay. Gotta have it. I wasn't sure. I think once upon a time you were able to maybe take that stuff off. You could have a game without audio, but I might also be thinking Game Dev Tycoon or something like that. A lot of people using Audible Pro 3. Well, yeah, I guess so. I'm gonna, you know what? I'm gonna go for Audible Pro 2. Because it's a bit better. I'm a rebel. So then operating systems, which there weren't a whole lot of. Some of them are computer, some of them are console. Doesn't matter too much, I think. We'll go for InSlim X3. That's fine. I could go for multiple, but it takes a long time to develop for that stuff. Like the ETA is about a year, but if I were to add on a bunch of them, 5 years. Ouchie. So just go for the biggest one. We can port it later on. I don't think porting is as effective, but oh well. Next page. That we already did. Next page. Krug is the lead designer, obviously. He will be getting 5% royalties, but because he's not like super duper creative, we didn't get the third tier of it, we do get to keep this IP ourselves as the company. So if we were to make this thing and sell it down the road to somebody else, and then they own the rights to the IP, but I actually get money from it then. It's just a shame that he's not like the next tier, because then with like 93%, I think it is, creativity, this doesn't have to go through very much to become like a really super nice piece of software. I will, however, we're going to go for a publisher, because I think this is generally a project that we can handle in a reasonable amount of time. We're going to go for a publisher. The simple act of having a publisher means that we're going to pay royalties to them. So not only Krug, but also the publisher. But that's fine. It also sets a release date for us, May of 1981. This has to come out before. We can delay it, but that's not going to be good for us. From the publisher, we could go for straight up funding. They can throw us a bit of money to start the project, but meh, I don't like that. I'd rather just do some contracts if we need it. Marketing, so they handle that for us? Yes. 1000% yes, because the amount of marketing that I can do is going to be nowhere near enough to get our name out there. We need somebody to market for us. We could also have them do the printing for us, but the royalty cost of like the 14% or whatever, it's a lot cheaper just ordering copies as we need them, so I'm just going to not do that. And operating system exclusivity brings down the royalty cost a little bit, but it does mean that you have to be on whatever operating system, which may or may not be good for us. So just marketing. Probably the best way to do it. Contractually obligated to release it in May of 81. That's okay. I don't mind. And with that, we can begin. Aha! So, much like the contracts before, we're going to let this do probably like 2 or 3 iterations of design. I'd like this to be pretty decent. The more iterations we go through on the design, the higher potential our software can be, and less bugs there's also likely to be. If we pounded this thing out with iteration 1, it'd probably only be like a 4 out of 10 software and also have a lot of bugs in it.